My mother-in-law's voice sliced through the air like a guillotine. Swap the babies? Mark, it's only fair. I froze, staring at the woman who just suggested I trade my newborn twins like they were cards in a poker game. The living room felt smaller than ever, the walls closing in as her words hung heavy. My twin boys, Ethan and Eli, barely 2 weeks old, slept peacefully in their cribs, oblivious to the absurdity unfolding. My wife, Sarah, stood beside me, her silence louder than any scream. I waited for her to shut her mother down, to laugh off the insane demand, but her lips stayed sealed, her eyes darting to the floor. That's when I knew this wasn't just a bad joke, it was a storm brewing, and I was standing in its eye. It started 3 months ago, when Sarah's sister, Emily, gave birth to her own twins. Ava and Mia, Emily and her husband, Tom, had struggled with infertility for years, their journey a public saga of tears and treatments. When they finally welcomed their girls, the family celebrated like it was a miracle. Sarah and I were thrilled for them, even as we prepared for our own twins. But beneath the joy, I sensed a shift in Sarah's mother, Diane. Her pride in Emily's triumph had a sharp edge, like she was keeping score. I brushed it off. Diane had always been intense, a woman who wielded love like a weapon. I never imagined she'd turn it on me. The twins, ours and Emily's, were born a week apart. Ethan and Eli came first, healthy and loud, their tiny fists punching the air as if claiming their place in the world. Ava and Mia followed, smaller, frailer, their first days spent in the NICU. Diane was there for every moment of Emily's ordeal, hovering like a hawk, while her visits to our boys were brief, her smiles thin. I didn't think much of it then. I was too busy learning how to change diapers and survive on 3 hours of sleep. But now, standing in my own living room, Diane's demand echoing in my ears, I realized I'd missed the warning signs. Fair, I repeated, my voice low. Dangerous. You think swapping my sons for your daughters is fair? Diane didn't flinch. She was a tall woman, her silver hair pulled tight, her eyes cold and calculating. Emily's girls need better care, she said, as if stating a fact. You and Sarah have the means, the stability. Emily and Tom are struggling. Ava and Mia deserve what Ethan and Eli have. I laughed, a bitter sound that startled even me. You're talking about my children like they're furniture. You don't get to decide who deserves what. Sarah's hand grazed my arm, a plea for calm, but I pulled away. Her silence was a betrayal, a crack in the foundation we'd built over 7 years of marriage. I turned to her, searching for the woman who'd vowed to stand by me. Say something. Sarah. Tell her she's lost her mind. Her eyes welled up, but her voice was barely a whisper. Mom's just worried about Emily. She doesn't mean it like that. Doesn't mean it like what? I snapped. She wants us to give up our sons. Diane stepped closer, her voice softening but no less commanding. Mark, you're a good man. You want what's best for everyone. Emily's girls are fragile. They need a home like yours. Parents like you. Your boys are strong, they'll thrive anywhere. It's a sacrifice. Yes, but it's for the family. The word sacrifice hit me like a punch. I looked at Ethan and Eli, their tiny chests rising and falling, their faces so alike yet already distinct to me. Ethan's nose crinkled when he slept. Eli's fingers curled like he was dreaming of a fight. They were mine, not bargaining chips. And yet, Diane's logic twisted as it was gnawed at me. Emily and Tom were struggling, financially and emotionally. Their apartment was cramped, their jobs unstable. Sarah and I had a house, savings, a life carefully planned, but to suggest we swap our children, it was madness. I turned to Sarah again, my voice breaking. Do you agree with her? Do you think we should do this? She shook her head, tears spilling. No, Mark, I don't. But Mom's right about Emily. She's falling apart. I don't know how to help her without hurting us. Her words were a knife. I wanted to scream that helping Emily didn't mean giving up our sons, but Diane cut in before I could. You're both so young, she said, her tone almost pitying. You don't understand what it means to put family first. Emily's my daughter, just like Sarah. Her pain is my pain. I'm asking you to do what's right. Right, I spat. You're asking me to abandon my children? Not abandon, Diane corrected. Share. You'd still see them. We'd work it out. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Work it out like a custody agreement for a divorce. They're not property, Diane. The argument spiraled, voices rising until Ethan stirred in his crib, his tiny wail cutting through the tension. Sarah rushed to him, scooping him up, her hands trembling. I wanted to go to her, to hold them both, but Diane's presence felt like a wall between us. She wasn't done. Think about it. Mark, she said, you have two healthy boys. Emily's girls might not make it without this. The room spun. I sank onto the couch, my head in my hands. Diane's words were poison, seeping into my doubts. What if she was right about Ava and Mia? What if they needed more than Emily and Tom could give? But the thought of handing over my sons, of waking up to someone else's children in their place, made my stomach churn. And Sarah, why wasn't she fighting this? Her loyalty to her mother, her fear of disappointing her, was tearing us apart. The next few days were a blur of tension. Diane didn't let up, calling daily, her voice a mix of guilt and insistence. She sent articles about premature babies, statistics about poverty and health outcomes, as if data could justify her demand. Emily called too, her voice fragile, apologizing but never contradicting her mother. Tom was silent, a ghost in the background, and I wondered if he even knew what Diane was pushing for. Sarah and I barely spoke. Every conversation turned into an argument, her torn between her family's expectations and our life together. I caught her crying in the nursery one night, staring at Ethan and Eli. I don't know what to do, she whispered. Mom's always been like this. She decides what's best, and we follow. But this, it's too much. Then why won't you tell her no, I asked, my voice softer than I felt. Because I'm scared, she admitted. Scared of losing her, of losing Emily. Scared of what happens if we don't help. I pulled her close, feeling her tremble. We can help Emily without giving up our boys, I said. We can pay for medical bills, babysit, anything, but not this. She nodded, but I could see the doubt in her eyes. Diane's influence was a shadow over us, and I wasn't sure how to fight it. The breaking point came a week later. Diane showed up unannounced, Emily in tow, Ava and Mia in a double stroller. The girls looked healthier than I'd expected, their cheeks pink, their eyes bright, but Diane's expression was all business. I've spoken to a lawyer, she said, before I could even close the door. There are ways to make this legal, a private adoption agreement, temporary guardianship, whatever works. I stared at her, dumbfounded. You're threatening us with lawyers now. Not a threat, she said coolly. A solution. Emily's girls need this. Mark, you can't be selfish. Emily looked away, her hands gripping the stroller. I wanted to shake her, to demand why she was letting her mother do this. But she looked so broken, so defeated, that my anger faltered. Instead, I turned to Diane. Get out, I said, my voice steady. You don't get to come into my home and demand my children. Diane's eyes narrowed. You're making a mistake. No, I said, you are. And if you push this, you'll lose more than you think. She left, Emily trailing behind her. But the damage was done. That night, Sarah and I sat down. No distractions, no excuses. I'm sorry, she said, her voice raw. I should have stopped her from the start. I didn't know how. I need you to choose us. I said, me, Ethan, Eli, not her. She nodded, tears streaming. I do. I choose you. It wasn't the end of the fight. Diane didn't back down easily. She called, texted, even showed up at my office once, her pleas laced with guilt trips. But Sarah found her voice. She told Diane no, firmly, repeatedly, until the calls slowed. We helped Emily and Tom in other ways, money for medical bills, groceries, a babysitter, when they needed a break. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. Months passed, and the rift with Diane never fully healed. She saw the boys occasionally, but the trust was gone. Emily and Tom moved to a better apartment, their girls growing stronger every day. Sarah and I rebuilt our marriage, brick by brick, learning to navigate her mother's shadow. Ethan and Eli became our world, their laughter a reminder of what we'd almost lost. Looking back, I wonder where Diane's demand came from love for Emily. Desperation, or something darker? A need to control? I'll never fully understand it. But I know one thing: family isn't about sacrifice at any cost. It's about boundaries, love, and fighting for what's yours. What would you have done? Was Diane's demand born of love or manipulation? Share your thoughts. Where do you stand on family, loyalty, and the line between right and wrong?